The Vets picked up where they left off. The newcomers introduced themselves to the 305, and FIU began week one with a W. This year's journey now in full swing. The stakes will only get higher as the season continues. Right now, however, the attention turns to Texas State. 1 week at a time, a victory Saturday night brings FIU to 2-0. A guy named T.Y. was roaming the sidelines at FIU the last time that happened. Welcome into FIU Stadium. So glad to have you with us. Butch Davis, AJ Ricketts. Coach, feels good to do this after a win. A lot of points and a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, a win was great, but getting back and playing college football was unbelievable. Our players were so excited leading up to the game, and then obviously during pregame and stuff like that, it was like, oh my God, they're going to really play well tonight.
There's a lot of facets to talk about. Really, each phase of the game Thursday night was impressive. But to you, what stands out most? What are you most pleased with Thursday night's performance?
I think obviously if you break it down into all three phases, I mean, from a special team standpoint, I mean, we only had to punt one time, but Tommy's punt, a 48-yard punt that got down. The execution by the gunners going down and getting it at the 1 yard line, that was outstanding. Chase Gabriel, the extra points and the field goals, being 6 for 6 was excellent, and one of them being a 45-yard field goal, so that part of it was really good. Then when you get into the offense and the defense, offensively, obviously, I mean, we ran the ball extraordinarily well. Devonta Price, I don't think I've ever seen anybody ever have 5 carries for whatever it was, 165 yards and 3 touchdowns and stuff. But, I was pleased with the way in which the offensive line blocked, not only just for him, but for the other running backs. We were able to run the ball. The play action passes were good. We made some good plays. Max in his very first game as a starting quarterback and stuff, I mean, he really was very, very efficient. Had one interception that could have maybe been caught, maybe should have been a little bit lower of a throw from him. And then defensively, I mean, I don't think that we started off very well, to be honest with you. Right. I think that, not knowing who they were and what they were going to do and that kind of stuff, which really isn't a good example or a good excuse for that. But I didn't think that we were physically at the point of attack. But once we got into the role in the second quarter, the third, and the fourth, we got much, much better. There were some good plays in the secondary. Josh Turner made a couple of excellent plays at coverage, and Richard Dames made some really good plays. I thought our linebackers, I thought that Jamal Gates, obviously, he's been playing a lot of football for us. I think at the end of the game, I think he actually ended up having 9 tackles during the course of the game. And to see him to come back from the ACL surgery on his knee and see him play, so that part of it was very good.
Let's jump into Devonta's performance. It really only took him 2 quarters to earn Player of the Game honors. A sensational game, a return for Price. Of course, last year, 5 touchdowns in the season. He had 3 rushing touchdowns in the first half. That's actually a career high for him. 165 yards, as you see, just blowing by defenders in the very first drive, 3 plays and into the end zone. Coach, was there a certain area of Devonta's performance or his game that you wanted to challenge him to get better based on what you've heard from scouts or your conversations with him? Because he was already so talented the last couple of years. Was there a certain area you challenged him?
We did, and we didn't use any of it. But obviously the one thing, I mean, he has exposed himself and shown that he can run. He's got great vision. He can cut. He can explode. He can turn short yards into long runs and stuff. His blitz pickup has been very good his entire career. We didn't throw the ball to him much. We didn't have to throw much to the running backs during the course of the entire ball game. But that's an area that you always tell players, if you want to be a complete player as a running back, and this goes back to all the great running backs that I had at the University of Miami, and then even going to the Dallas Cowboys with Emmitt Smith. I know that Joe Brodsky, who was the running back coach there, he was a great runner at Florida. I mean, he had unbelievable numbers, but they didn't use him very much as far as a route runner and catching the ball, and obviously that really helped him become a complete player. And so for Devonta and all of our running backs, that's a thing that we really want them all to do. Yeah,
Max Bortenschlager, his QB, didn't have to throw it to him too often, but he had plenty of other targets in that game. 14 for 17 for Bortenschlager. After the game, he talked about how he's developed more of a sense of comfort in his time at FIU in year 2. Here's what he had to say after the game.
I think this summer was probably the best I've felt between workouts with Coach Swayze, getting the body right, and then finally, the past 2 years, my ankle, dealt with some knee and back stuff last year, so just really being able to have a full off season with Coach Swayze, and just coming out of camp, this is the best I've felt coming out of camp. both mentally and physically. So definitely a big difference.
You heard him talk about how his confidence has developed. You remarked about that last week. You've seen it in fall camp. We saw it in the game, 14 for 17, a terrific completion percentage, but they weren't little 5-yard dump-off passes. He was firing it deep. What was your assessment of Bortenschlager on Thursday?
Yeah, you know, AJ, one of the things, and I think our quarterbacks last year, it was a complete disaster because quarterbacks, they need to practice. They need to go against our defense and blitz them and scrimmage and have to have, you know, some difficult situations to face. So now all of a sudden you throw them out there last year in those games and they had no spring practice, no training camp in the summertime. So all of them benefited, and Max definitely. I mean, our training camp this past summer, you know, they got a chance to go against the defense in some scrimmage situations. They got a chance during our practices to blitz them and put pressure on them, and that's how you grow and you gain. And then obviously when you go into the game and you perform and you play, like you said, he was 14 for 17, and you know, and I think his confidence will continue to grow and gain as the season goes along.
You know, one of the beneficiaries of that confidence improvement, I should say, for Bortenschlager is Bryce Singleton, a veteran. He had a career high in receiving yards, 149 on 6 receptions. He was one of 8 receivers with the catch, able to spread it out a little bit, and Singleton really led the charge there.
You know what, and AJ, one of the things I've always believed, if you're going to have a great passing attack, you've got to have more than just one receiver. I mean, and Bryce is excellent. He's an experienced veteran guy. He runs good routes. He's got great hands. He's got the ability to have run after a catch. But if you're just the only guy, the defenses are going to figure out how to roll the coverages, double cover somebody, but the more that you can spread it out, like Tyrese Chambers having some explosive big plays, and obviously Shamar Thornton didn't get a chance to play in this game, but we'll get him back sometime. Right. And then obviously with the tight ends and the other receivers, you know, then that really lets, you know, the defense, they can't just focus on one particular guy.
A theme every year you've been here, especially this season, rings true, the depth of the running back room. You were able to showcase 5 of those backs in the game. It was funny. I was talking with Cam Lynch, our analyst in the game. Eric Wilson was second on the team in rushing yards, and he didn't get a touch until the 4th quarter. Exactly. He nearly had 50 yards. You really got to showcase the talent there.
You know what I liked about it, too, was the fact that, I mean, there wasn't those kinds of things that sometimes you see running backs get huge numbers because you just run a toss sweep, they get outside, they circle the defense, and they run long. Most of the runs were physical. I mean, it was in the line of scrimmage, between the tackles, the power inside, and being able to not just make 4, 5, 6-yard runs. There were 8, 10, 12, 14-yard runs, and they ran physical with the ball. And you know, from that standpoint, I was very, very pleased with them.
We're going to take a look at some of the highlights of the defense as well, as you see it on tape here. Boy, they were flying around the football. Josh Valentine Turner, Jamal Gates. You mentioned his 8, 9 tackles earlier here in the show. Coach, in the first half, you guys allowed 237 yards. Adjustments were made. Second half, 54 total yards, including just 2 in the 4th quarter. Well, what'd you say in the locker room at the half? What do you think was the biggest adjustment?
Well, I think Everett Withers had a little bit of
something
motivation to say at halftime. But, I mean, you know, it was all about literally doing your job. And, you know, I mean, it's one of the things that we have been, you know, not doing a great job all the time in the previous years, is you've got an assignment. Quit trying to make a play when it's not your responsibility, because you jump out of a gap that everybody else has got, and instead of it being a 1 or 2 yard gain or a no gain, it turns into a 12 or 14 yard gain just simply because you're not disciplined. And that's where, you know, I think that we really truly emphasized over the halftime and come out the second half, and it was definitely different.
Spotlighting the run defense. Jacksonville State, the FCS team we played last year, more of a history and tradition than Long Island. But last year, Jacksonville State ran for 296 yards. Long Island, you hold them under 196. What did you see out of the run defense to elicit that improvement?
Yeah, I think the defensive line, I think Devon Strickland, I think Rashard Colson, Kevin Oliver and those guys, they really truly tried to play physical at the point of attack and anchor the line of scrimmage and stuff. And like you know, one of the things, Jason Mercier came in and played, and he made several plays, got a sack, made a couple of tackles behind the line of scrimmage. And so, you know, what we wanted to do, one of the goals in the game was get 8, 9 guys in the defensive line involved in the game, because you can't, I mean, it's impossible for 12, 13, 14 games during the course of the season to go out there and
6,
play
7 deep, yeah.
4 guys.
Yeah.
And 4 guys are not going to be able to do it. They're never going to play 65 to 70 plays, and you got to have depth, and that's a little bit like what we did in the first half, is we were rotating an awful lot of young freshman guys and new guys to the program,
right.
And they'll get better.
Jamal Gates, one of the anchors of the defense, of course, at that linebacking spot. Here's what he had to say after the game.
With the older guys, we always preach, focus on the right things, like focus on today, and that's what we did tonight. We came out there, we focused on today, and one thing Coach Withers preached also is 1-0, and don't worry about the next opponent or don't worry about the past. And I felt like we focused on that today and went 1-0.
Oh, that was interesting. Focus on the right things. Focus on today. They're not looking forward to week 2, or well, now they are, but they weren't looking forward to Texas State or Texas Tech. They were really focused on that game, put out a complete performance. A lot of veterans to lead the defense you have this year.
Yeah, you know what? We talked about it before the game, AJ, with the entire team. Every play that you play, you put on the video and on the screen, and that says who you are, your effort, your technique, all the way, your toughness, your physical, in all 3 phases of the game. And I think that's what Jamal was referring to, is don't worry about next quarter, don't worry about the next play, just play this play, and let's make sure that you do it the very best that you can.
All right, when we come back, we'll break down some of the film that led to the barrage of scoring Thursday night. The Panthers are 1-0. The pageantry of college football is back. The Panther walk en route to the stadium. The sprint out of the tunnel, and a crowd fired up that football has returned. Panther Talk back after this.
Power isn't born, it's built over time. For over 65 years, Hercules Tires has been providing the muscle to move more drivers. Whatever the vehicle, whatever the terrain, and we back it with a powerful protection plan. So wherever the road or the trail takes you, we have the selection, value, and strength to get you there. Hercules Tires. Ride on our strength.
This should be a loud and fun environment.
Kickoff is here. It's been a long time to get to this point. We are back.
Price on the ground, and he's got room to go. Nobody's going to give him touchdown.
Mike Joseph has taken it to the house of the opening kickoff.
The Florida Lottery is proud to support education by contributing billions of dollars to Florida schools and awarding countless Bright Future scholarships, so Florida students can do more than just dream of a brighter future. They can create one. Learn more at flalottery.com.
Some scenes from Thursday night. So glad to be back at FIU Stadium. A terrific turnout as well. And for the fans, the students had plenty to cheer about. 48 points put on the board, and the FIU Panthers are 1-0. Look who else was out there during the game. One of your former athletes, coach, who went on to have a distinguished career, I'd say. Ed Reed made his way out to the stadium, chopping it up with yourself and Coach Swayze before the game. Great to see him out there, and that's what it's all about, the relationships. Ed had to hop on the flight to Atlanta the next morning, but he chose to come out, spend some time at FIU Stadium, and I know you were glad to see him a little bit.
Yeah, it was great to see him, and obviously everybody knows what an unbelievable career that he had, not only collegiately, but obviously with the Baltimore Ravens, going into Pro Football Hall of Fame, and just talking to him before the game and stuff, and listening to him. I mean, he's really, he's very concerned about the state of Louisiana with the hurricane that just went through there, and he's talking about doing some community things to raise some money for the places close to where he lived and everything. But he's always been a great individual, and I've loved getting a chance to see him.
Yeah, first class. Was great to see him out there, certainly. I think the players wanted to come over and chop it up with him. They had warm-ups to get through. Maybe another time to chop it up with that. All right, let's take a look at some film here. Our radio analyst on 1410, Patrick Murray, breaking down one of the run plays that led to some scoring. Let's take a look at how it happened.
Fantastic game for senior running back Devonta Price. 165 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns on just 5 carries. And he had 87 yards after contact. Long Island just could not tackle Price. I want to take a closer look at his second touchdown run, the 68-yarder, and how his offensive line set it up for him on a play concept called counter. I'm going to show you 3 key blocks, and it starts with right tackle Lindell Hudson. His job is to come down inside and make a down block on Joe Amalfitano. That's Long Island's best defensive player. So let's play it out in slow motion and take a look. Here comes Hudson down inside, uses his strength to pin Amalfitano down inside. The second thing to look at is left guard Sione Finau. Here he comes, he's gonna pull around and kick out the defensive end. So let's watch him as we go ahead and play it out now. Here he comes, big number 72, puts that dude on the people mover, opening the hole. The third part of this is Sterling Palmer, the tight end. He's hiding behind the goalpost there. His job is to pull around and be the lead blocker coming through that hole, block the first defender he sees. It's gonna be number 10, the linebacker. So watch Palmer as he pulls, leads through the hole, finds his man and seals it. And look at what we have here. Look at this big hole, plenty of open space for Price to run. And when he gets into the open field, let me tell you, there was no shark that was going to catch him. 68 yards to the house. Price's combination of size and speed at 6'2", 215 make him very difficult to take down. He averaged 33 yards per carry last week. It would have been more, but the end zone kept getting in the way.
Great to have Patrick Murray on the broadcast team. Look forward to working with him throughout the year. And yeah, certainly could have got a lot more, but running out of real estate to deal with. But, you know, a great point in that, you know, with, as usual, with a lot of big runs, there's a process that builds up to that. 3 key blocks right there. What was your assessment of the offensive line?
Yeah, I thought definitely on that play, the execution was very good. But for the most part, you know, when you take a look at it, you look at the run blocking aspect of it, you look at the pass protection part of it. Yeah. You know, Max was not under a great deal of pressure. They didn't blitz a great deal, you know, which obviously we're going to see before the season gets over with. But for a very first game, I thought it was a very good positive start for the offensive line.
All right, let's talk about week 2, Saturday night, ESPN 3. It's Texas State and FIU. Texas State held their own with Baylor. A late touchdown made it a single-digit game. I think 29-20 was the final score. Their quarterback, Brady McBride, 8 starts last year at 17 touchdowns and 7 picks. A tough performance last week, had 3 interceptions, but kept the team in it. In your initial impressions of Texas State, what have you seen?
Yeah, well, the very first thing is they played great against Baylor. They didn't win the game, but their physicality, how hard they played, how physical that they were. When you look at a team and you're getting ready to make the presentation to our team, and you just tell them, hey, these guys gave great effort, and they made plays. I mean, there was things that was very good. I thought their special teams was outstanding. I thought that, you know, with the exception of the turnovers, that really hurts anybody. But, you know, they had the ability to run the ball. The quarterback has got an awful lot of ability to extend plays. He can get out of the pocket. He can make plays down the field. And then defensively, I mean, they gave Baylor some really difficult situations. So this is a good football team. They're very experienced. They brought in a lot of veteran guys in the portal to add to the depth of their football team.
Hit 2-10 last year. 4 losses were by a touchdown or less. 6 were by 10 points or less. And the Bobcats nearly took down Boston College and Chestnut Hill last year. We mentioned Brady McBride, their quarterback, Jamil Jeter, one of those transfers from Oklahoma State. They loaded up with a number of Power 5 transfers, and particularly along the defensive line. I think it'll be a good test for pass protection and seeing how much Bortenschlager can do quickly.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I mean, and our players now, obviously, you know, Long Island is a good program, okay, but this is going to be a dramatically, as you just talked about. I mean, Boston College was a very good football team last year. They beat some very good teams. For them to go into Boston College and to win that game, that tells you the capabilities that they have.
Should be a lot of fun on ESPN Plus Thursday night, not 3, ESPN Plus. They're alternating weekend. It gets a little confusing. ESPN Plus Saturday night, Texas State and FIU. Let's take one more look back at last Thursday night. Plenty of scoring, plenty of offense. Top 5 plays. It's been a while since we've done that. Let's do it once again, shall we? All right, taking a look at our top 5, brought to you by Cafe Bustelo. We have creative license, so we're going to start with the honorable mention. You let off the show. Got to shout out our Great Guy Award nominee, Tommy Heatherly, pinning him at the one. Can't do any better than that.
No, I tell you what, I mean, he's worked a lot on a lot of different things in the punt, but the gunners going down there, downing the ball inside the one is a great play.
All right, number 5, starting things off here. Deep ball to Bryce Singleton, a career high, and Bortenschlager putting some passes on the money all night.
Yeah, the play action, obviously, when you're having success running the ball, it really minimizes the pressure on the quarterback. The pocket was good, but Bryce makes a great route, gets on top of the defender, and Max does a great job leading the ball in front of him so he can run through the catch.
Another deep ball coming up here at number 4. Tyrese Chambers coming in from FCS Sacred Heart. He was an All-American. He's looking to make a statement here at the FBS level, too.
Yeah, and he's mad he tripped over the
I know
line.
he's upset at himself.
Exactly, because he was obviously wide open, and Max did a great job. I mean, they busted the coverage. You don't get 15 yards open like that, but he ran the route perfectly, catches the ball, and I know later on he got into the end zone.
He found his way to the end zone. I think that's a touchdown to the next level, too. Not quite yet. Here's the patience of Devonta Price. More patience than a pre-K teacher. Waited, and found his way to the end zone. I don't know how he did it.
Yeah, and that's one of the things, obviously, that you know, Devonta is very, very good. His patience of just don't run into the back of the offensive line and then fall down on the ground. He's always looking for, you know, a gaping place to go.
Yeah, this one was a little more explosive, if you will. Finds the gap, and it's a track meet. He doesn't lose those, Coach.
Yeah, no kidding. But obviously, and he'll be the first one to tell you that the blocking of the offensive line, the tight ends, Sterling Palmer being able to create that gap, and then he got to the second level, and nobody's going to catch him.
Oh, what I love here is how Bryce Singleton would just not go down. Contact happened at the 8-yard line, and his legs just kept plugging away, and he would not be denied. That was fun.
And it's great to see him healthy. I mean, obviously he had the ACL a couple of years ago. After his freshman year, he was outstanding as a true freshman when he came in and made some plays. And it's good to see him healthy and doing all the explosive plays that he can.
Yeah, well, all right. Love to see that many explosive plays this upcoming weekend. Perhaps a tougher challenge, of course, with Texas State. What's going to be key this Saturday to improve to 2-0, Butch?
Yeah, well, obviously, my personal opinion is football teams, if you're going to be any good, you should improve from week 1 to week 2 significantly, because now a lot of guys that have never played college football got a chance to get into games and to play. It's a challenge, okay? They're going to be a lot more physical at the point of attack for our offensive line. Their pass pressure is going to be significantly better than Long Island last week. They've got more speed in the secondary, so you know we're going to have to do the great execution. Defensively, we really got to step up, you know, and not have the mental mistakes. Obviously, they got the 74-yard touchdown pass last week against us. We can't give up those kinds of explosive type of plays, and then play great on special teams.
All right. Well, if it's anything like last Thursday, should be a fun night this upcoming Saturday at FIU Stadium, 7 p.m. on ESPN+. Butch, hope we can do it again next week. That was fun.
Absolutely.
Appreciate your time. When we come back, man, the soccer team is killing it as well. 3-0, 2 top 25 wins. We take a look at men's soccer, off to a sensational start to this season.
Hello, I'm the Good Greek Spiro, and I have some very exciting news. Good Greek Moving and Storage is launching our Welcome Home program. Book your next move with Good Greek and you will receive our housewarming package, which includes gift cards valued at over $1,000, along with a neighborhood guide as you discover your new favorite local businesses. For the best move ever and to receive your exclusive gift offer, visit goodgreek.com and welcome home.
Greek Moving and Storage, your superhero movers.
We've recruited winners, man. We've recruited guys that enjoy having to suffer during parts of the game, and they stick to the plan, and they're disciplined, and all credit to the guys, man. This is our second top 25 win, and these guys are motivated to show the country we're the real deal.
We have been working for this, and I know we had many chances. Sometimes the ball doesn't come in as we want, but we were working, and it came, you know. Every set piece, every ball is important, every time the ball gets there, I know I have the chance to score and help the team. And if I can keep doing that, I'm just gonna do it.
We got defenders scoring, you know what I mean? We got defenders scoring back-to-back game-winning goals. You know, like maybe I can start a chip in, but my main concern is just winning, man.
Kareem Riley, Enzo, is a leader. He's a great center back. He's partnered up with David, who is also a great center back.
They're amazing. We help each other. We're a family. Not only the back four, the whole team, defense, all game, 90 minutes every game, every day, every practice, with everything we have. And that's what we show every day, every game.
We treat everyone the same because that's when complacency set in. You can't come and be the number 12 ranked team and then we go face someone else who's weaker, and we think that it's my job partly to make sure we don't and make sure we just slap up everyone, man. That's my main priority. We just give the work to anybody. Anybody gets it.
We got 11 guys plus our substitutes that are so proud to fight for this university. They love Miami, they love FIU, they love being a Panther, and they want to beat every single team that they're up against. So super proud with them, proud that David was able to score and keep a clean sheet.
I'm AJ Ricketts. From all of us here at FIU, make it a good weekend. Pause up.